Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. In today's material, we'll be discussing something that every cat owner has to deal with or has dealt with in the past: how to tell a cat no. Not only how to tell them no, but how to make them understand no. If you've owned a cat for longer than 20 minutes, you've probably had to discipline your pet, or at least attempt to. No, get off the sofa. No, get off the bed. No, don't claw the carpet. No, don't claw my face. Cats have minds of their own. Big shocker, right? And they're not very good at speaking our language. Imagine that. So just the word no, it really doesn't translate too well. It can take effort to get the message across, and in some cases, it can seem like a never ending process of training and stress. Before we take a closer look at this subject matter, let's first explore today's topic overview. Cats don't understand the word no. Therefore, the way you say it to your cat is crucial. When disciplining your cat with commands, use a firm, authoritative tone and don't change the way you say it. That way, your cat will understand what it means. Use dominant body language techniques and look into your cat's eyes while you give the command. Hissing like a cat, I'm not too sure about that. Hissing like a cat and using a deterrent are effective ways to train your cat what no means. So, when you tell a cat no, it literally all comes down to how you say it, the voice tone consistency, and the body language that comes with it. I mean, what is no really, right? It's a sound. And that's the foundation you must start with when attempting to crack the code and discipline your cat. The sound of no must carry some weight and identification. Just like positive sounds for your feline, you want the sound of no to carry some type of force. While the goal is certainly not to scare your pet into submission, but when you say no, you want your cat to stop immediately and change course at once. In several videos, we've talked about cats in the same manner one would speak about a small child. This is the same way in many ways. How does a child learn no and the importance of the word? How does a child learn to cease negative behaviors? It's just the word alone. Is it the tone? What is it? It's the body language. Well, it's not just the word. That's the key thing to know. It's not just the word. How you say it, the force behind it, and the body language you use, and the aftermath. Sometimes the aftermath can play a huge role. Here again, the teaching methods are quite similar when it comes to telling your cat not to do something. And speaking of something, we are thankful that you've decided to make Senior Cat Wellness part of your something today. You could be just about anywhere, yet you've decided to spend a few minutes with us. And for that, we are truly grateful. Your support means everything. And whether this is your first video or you've been here for a couple of years, you are family to us, and we value your viewership. Thanks again, and we hope to see you again down the road. Now, let's tell those cats no. Let's get going. The importance of verbal command. So much of cat ownership is all about what you say and how you say it, the positive and the negative. And not to get too far off topic, but this is also how a cat learns its name, making the sound have a unique impact compared to everything else you say. Because keep in mind, to your cat, your casual language probably sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. That's why certain words need to carry some level of power and influence so that your cat can distinguish them from a sea of noise. So, how you say no to your cat? How do you do it? How do you do it? Well, here are a few helpful tips. The authoritative voice. The authoritative voice. This is all about pitch and tone. The no, it has to be distinct. You can't use the same tone and pitch to say no as the same you would when you were saying, I don't know, your cat's name. They can't sound the same. All that does is muddy the waters. The firm no highlights your displeasure. Your cat will know this sound is different if you only use it for this single word. Use this information as your backbone. Next up is a consistent tone. Once you've locked down the authoritative tone, practice that consistent tone. I love my sports analogies, so for any basketball fans out there, think of consistent tone as shooting a free throw, right? You've got your routine. You wouldn't step up to that foul line and do something different each time, right? You need consistency. The same holds true for the tone of no. I mean, you could probably take a harsh tone in 500 different ways. Well, your cat will also view it in 500 different ways, thereby making your tone lack weight. Keeping a consistent tone allows your cat to commit not only to the sound of the word, but also the tone of the word. They can commit all of that to memory. Next up, is body language. And while body language is important, you don't need to get too carried away here. No waving of the arms and stomping around, none of that. Although it can be tempting, I've been there for sure, believe me. Body language. How about that index finger? The power of that index finger. Put it to use. Look your cat directly in the eyes. Point with that index finger. And let's say your cat's on the sofa, point to the floor. Your goal is to stop your cat in its tracks, not due to fear, but due to command of attention. Get your cat locked on you by measure of authority, consistent tone, eye contact, and that finger point. Let your feline know that you're the boss. You can certainly still love your cat while also letting your cat know who runs the show around here. Always remember, your cat is living with you. You're not living with your cat. Those crazy cats that you see on TV that just tear up a whole house, yeah, that's typically the result of a cat getting too much, being allowed to take too much, and taking ownership of almost everything. Very early on, it's critical to let your cat know that you are the authority. Here again, back to the small child analogy. I mean, you wouldn't let a toddler control your entire home and do whatever they wanted. The same applies here. A measure of tough love. So you're probably asking, well, what if none of this works? Like, okay, we trust you, man, but what if none of this is flying for us? Well, this is where you use a deterrent. It can come in handy. Shake a full can of pennies, or slap your hand on the table. A quick, say a clap of your hands. Here again, don't get too carried away, but make sure you get your cat's attention in a healthy and positive way. And our final tip is all about redirecting that attention. This could play into your hands. Hey, look over there, Garfield, food. Sometimes you have to play with your cat's mind. The use of food, toys, and games can get your cat off one thing and on to another. Felines are easily distracted. You can play into this if needed and use this quality to your own personal favor. So why don't cats just listen? Just listen. I mean, it's so much. It's so easy. Just listen. Why is this process of learning no so difficult at times for felines? Does my cat care? Why won't my cat just pay attention to me, please? It can be a tough road, and most cat owners have been there, at least on some level. As for the reasons why cats just don't listen to commands, we offer the following. How about this? A lack of understanding. Yeah, we've covered we've covered this part. They just don't get it. That's why you have to teach them. And while it can be annoying, at least on this front, you have to get on their level of understanding. I mean, we don't understand the cat language, right? So in fairness, it does go both ways. That's why teaching is so critical. Next up is age. Not kittens, but rather senior cats. Many older cats are just set in their ways, and they're not willing to take many orders from anybody or anything. It's just the way things are. Additionally, some older felines fail to respond to commands due to cognitive decline. They don't understand because they no longer have the ability to understand. Hearing loss can also be a factor. If this is the case, simply go easy on your pet from a discipline standpoint, as a lot of sympathy is in order. For all that we've spoken about today, if your loving pet is perhaps in the wrong and it's due to cognitive decline, hearing loss, or potentially both, other measures will have to be taken, and depending on what the negative action is, unless it's something totally out of bounds, you might just have to let it go. Another reason why some cats refuse to obey commands is simply due to a lack of motivation and incentive. One of the best ways to train a cat is to offer up some rewards for good behavior, a celebration of good behavior. Those incentives, coupled with a lack of negative tactics. A negative tactic, what is a negative tactic? Well, how about using a spray bottle to make your cat get off the sofa? Tempting, right? Very tempting. I'll meet you halfway there. Very tempting, but that's a no. No, 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 no. If nothing positive is offered up, then your cat could simply lack the motivation to do right. Some cats just need a boost, and simply learning the word no, it's still not enough for some felines. And our final reason as to why some cats do not respond to commands, they simply don't view you as the boss. Cats will often ignore people if they don't see them as the boss, sort of like a substitute teacher in school. We all have these stories from our childhood where your class would let its guard down and perhaps do a little more, a little over the top, because the real teacher was gone. It's a tale as old as school itself. The same can apply to your cat if your pet doesn't view you as the boss. If your cat feels like it owns you, you got some problems, my friend. You got some big problems. Remember, we said it earlier. Your cat lives with you. You don't live with your cat. Gaining control is critical, as nothing can really be done without it. And on that note, go to your room, face the wall. Now, on that note, that will close things out for the video portion of today's material. However, if you'd like to know more about this very important topic, we do invite you to visit us at seniorcatwellness.com. At the conclusion of today's presentation, there you will find a full length and highly detailed article dedicated to everything we've talked about today and so much more. Are you currently watching us offsite? If so, we encourage you to click the initial link in the description box below. Said link will take you to all of the information. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.